He had thick curly hair, and they whitewashed him in the history books because he was about my complexion, right? And he had been fighting the same war that was going on pre-1492 in Europe as the uh, the Europeans, the Great Inquisition, when they was casting out the dirty Moors from Europe, right? So they needed to hide themselves and follow the edicts of the 18th dynastic priest called Amun and govern from behind the scenes, and you needed a cat's paw. So they used their illegitimate children with concubines that they had kidnapped and raped from the European people that made them rebel. They was eating and raping the babies. So they all other tribes of Europe want them gone. They were supposed to have been they civilizers, but they was actually they uncivilized, right? They the ones that taught them the Babylonian ritual magic of money magic, blood magic, and sex magic, because they was actively using it to oppress all of the tribes of the Europeans, which was the newest people that was supposed to be trained and given a chance to rule with honor and dignity, but because they being controlled by wicked people from behind the scenes, honor and dignity never crossed their reality to this day. So when they kick them out of Europe, they didn't kick all of them out, right? They regrouped. They set up a country called Khazaria for their offspring of illegitimate mulatto offspring. The Spanish Jew was from a different noble line, and they came from Ottomans, Byzantine kings that was amalgamating with Etruscans that came across the Pillars of Hercules from North Africa into Europe and settled in what we call Italy today, Tuscany, right? So I remember France, Italy, and Spain is all right there together. This is why they call them Romance languages, right? The offshoots of Latin, the Spanish, the French, the Portuguese, the Dutch are all offshoots of Latin. The Romance languages that was used to write legalese. And all of the Latin terminologies was a different linguistic stock from the ones who took the language that became English off Ireland and Scotland was the root to Old English. Then it was passed to what's called the English Highlands. So then it became known as High English, English of the Highlands. And as the language moved down, it developed into a dialect that became referred to as British. And today they call it the Queen's English. Oh, thou, Romeo, wherefore art thou? Right?
Hey,
Old
man.
English. It's the history of the world, man. It's all right there. But because they want us to see the narrative in a different formula, they don't want us to ask the questions that ain't nobody else asking, because that's when they get angry. I know, because I asked them questions. They didn't want to give me the answer, so I had to go find books to find out where the answer was at, because I need to tell my people how this stuff is going down. I need to show them where they wrote it at, because they wrote it all down. And the only reason I know they wrote it all down, they say if you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in the book. So it must be in the books. And that's where I unlocked the secrets at. Because the books is just a log of the records that they kept. But you got to remember, the victories write the history. So now you got to find the ones who didn't write the history, but they wrote about it still. in journals, in diaries. And then they pass the information underground channels because when they die, somebody gonna sell their diary. It's good reading. You got diary collectors. Got all these people diaries of what was going on in their life contemporary with these events, time stamped and dated for personal use. So it ain't in the public domain, but then you can get more insight. This is why they came up with slave narratives written by slaves that wasn't allowed to read or write. Think about that. How in the hell is this slave that ain't allowed to read and write writing this slave narrative, telling us what happened to them when he was a slave? How the hell is he writing about it? And then if he narrating it to somebody to write it for him, who is he talking to that know how to write? His mama? His sister? And they not allowed to learn to read and write either. You gotta remember, we had to fight to get educated.
Yeah.
Even when they gave us this thing called the school, right? We didn't get no books. We just got some lady they sent in and said, go teach them history. And she told us the fairy tale about some dude named George Washington with wooden teeth. And that didn't make no sense. So we looking at her like she's a befuddling idiot. This is not how our elders taught us. Who is you people and where you come from? That's what I want to know.
That just blew my cap off because that's like you just told me how it all started and where it all came from. Like, that's a lot.
Right. So they know if we tell each other this stuff before time that they coming to kill us. Our ancestors know this. Our elders know this. So they can't tell us outright and direct. So they got to write it in code if they learn how to write. This is how we know the slave narrative written by the slaves is made up. Right? You got a African brought from Africa to America writing a slave narrative about the Middle Passage in perfect English. Guess what? Don't make no sense. First of all, he speak an African tongue. He don't speak English. Who taught him how to write English? Unless somebody lying somewhere.
It's a lot of children still get taught that to this day. It's like
The only difference is the children now in this era, when they get out of school, they go and fact check what the teacher said on TikTok.
sorry. Yeah, they got AI now.
Then they go back to school to ask the teacher questions about what they learned on TikTok last night about the lesson she taught yesterday. And now she got to tell them the bald-faced truth.
So like think about what you said about Project Bluebeam. So that's already done. And I'm
Yeah,
just
the
saying.
alien invasion already happened.
So then
Look,
what's
now if you pay attention, who is ICE rounding up right now? The illegal who?
legal immigrants?
The illegal who?
Aliens, my aliens.
Okay. Now, under the Biden watch, we was invaded by illegal who?
Aliens, right?
All that was after the blue beam went up. This was alien invasion.
Okay.
Okay, that already happened.
So I watched the video. You said like you were saying that everything's gonna go back to gold and silver.
Yeah, the standard of currency, the new banking systems.
Is it bad that my brothers like really? I know like money. It's not. It's the. It doesn't like change a person for the better. It just fuels them, right? So it's like, is it bad that like that we just want to make it out? We just want to make enough money to not to not have my
It's
family
not the
working.
money. It's not. Everybody keep thinking that it's the money. It's the illusion. It's not the money because the money only money because they said poof, it got value now. It ain't the money. It's the condition you want changed. It's the suffering you want lifted that's caused by being in a condition. The condition is easily identified from those who are restricted, poverty, versus those who are liberated, wealth. It's the condition. You don't even care about the money if you live like rich people live. You don't even care about the money no more. If that was your lifestyle and you grew up like that, you don't. It's not the money you focused on no more. You're looking for something else to care about. It's the condition. Poverty is an external representation of the social condition. So when you feel the pangs of poverty, you feel in the restrictions that your emotion about is costing you. And then they pay it back in dollars. The dollar is the illusion. But you remember in past lives, we wasn't poor. We didn't know what poverty was. It wasn't an earth-born reality. They brought it from somewhere else. In Atlanta, Lemuria, and all those pre-Diluvian civilizations, there was no such thing as poverty. Everybody had. There's no reason for anybody to be poor right now. Everybody can have $1 billion right now. The problem is the people that's been oppressed so long that now they're not going to want to contribute once they get the wealth. So they're going to have to give them hoops to jump through to get their wealth. Right? You got to work this long, and when you get this age, then all your money released. Trust fund babies. They got to have a trust fund timeline to redeem their personal wealth. But the good thing is somebody already then went ahead of them and redeemed theirs that can help them out until they earn theirs. But you ain't gonna need no help. Ain't gonna be no McDonald's. Ain't gonna be no Burger King, no Pizza Hut. All that stuff gonna be gone because you gonna have to get the food from the family farm. Ain't gonna be no grocery stores. If your family is fortunate enough to have a cannery, right, where y'all can put food in cans, then y'all got canned goods. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go to Big Mama house a couple times a month or a year, depending on how y'all the distance and how y'all lay it out, to get something live and have it prepared for you to cook at home. One of your uncles back there gonna do it. He just gonna do it because that's what he do for the family. And then you take it home, give it to the old lady. Here, go. Big Mama said, cook that for us. Whatever the situation might be. But a lot of this stuff had to go because it's destructive to the character of sentient people, of human beings, so to speak. So it's gonna have to be done away with, and it's gonna look like the whole other civilization is collapsing. You're just shaving off the fat. It ain't collapsing. It's just that the new civilization that we ushering in is rising up leaner. So when our fat fall off, we gonna see it. We don't need that. The educational system don't work for us. It prepare us to go to prison or work in the factory. It don't prepare us for real life. It don't prepare us to how to make the family functional with 250 people living in a small in area in a village, in the little family village. It don't teach you those kind of skills. We need to get back to the ground, back to the earth, back to who we are, and we can still develop technology. You don't have to sacrifice the development of technical advancements in order for people to live a holistic life. But we got to get back to those social building exercises that facilitate that. Because we've been taught to tear each other down. So we tear each other down. And then we don't feel no way bad about it because that's what we was taught to do. So that's what we're doing.
It's looking like a lot of people gonna have to go before anything really changes.
So it's going to be a lot of people gone. And it's a lot of people that we think is still here. They ain't here no more. It's a lot of people missing it. We just don't know they missing it. It's not as many people available as it was 5 years ago. Believe that.
You know that. In times like this, I just start to think like, what can I do to the best of my ability, just to help
Yeah.
the people around.
You know what you can do. Know your skill set. Your skill set gonna tell you what to do because you know how to do it already. Because what's coming, you ain't got time to prepare to do something different. Because if you do, you're gonna miss it. You gotta use what you got and then build on it.
I wanted to ask you what's your what's your relationship with Big Mom? Like, how does that work? And like, how do you how do you do that?
What do you mean?
Like, how do you? Cause I'll be honest. Sometimes I'll go into meditation. I'll speak to her. I'll speak to that energy, and sometimes I would I wouldn't hear anything. You know what I'm saying? So I know I wouldn't be doing anything wrong necessarily, but I would just like to hear something. You know what I'm saying?
You was using your mind but not your heart. Yeah, remember, our connection with Prime Creator comes through the heart chakra, right? Our connection with the environment, it comes through the back of the brain and the black dot. That's our connection to the physical world. And when we make the black dot ignite the pineal and we connect the heart chakra, that's when you experience your awakening. Big Mama talk to you, but it sounds like your mama talking to you in your head. So you think that it's just a memory that you have from your mama. But that's the voice you use because that's the first unconditional love you ever experienced on earth was your mama.
That's crazy.
So if you use your mama voice first, when she come in her voice is you will know somebody like that, right? That your mama look up to. And that's when she come in the voice of your big mama, she gonna come in that voice. But Right now, she gonna first talk to you in your mama voice because of the unconditional love connection.
I heard my mom's voice. She's not even there, so like, I know that's for a fact right there.
Yeah. A lot of people be like, I can't get my mama head out, my voice out my head. There's Big Mama is using your mama because that's your unconditional love connection to Prime Creator. So she talked to you in your mama voice.
No, Rob. One day, like I always want to. I'm just smoking with you one day.
For sure, man. That's
One
what it
day,
is.
one
Look,
day. I
we gonna have the powwow. We gonna have the chief classes and chiefess classes. We don't know that the women was the chiefs first, because that's how they the ones who made us chiefs. You gotta remember, it's take a God maker to make you a god.
yeah.
Hail
Yeah.
Mary, Mother of God. What that make her?
I always felt like women are so powerful. It's just, especially like a black woman, like just a melanated woman. They just don't know. Some of them just don't know. And well,
Yeah, a lot of these women of all ethnicities, if they knew their true power, they would move through their life entirely different.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna let somebody else come up because it's pretty
I
soon they're gonna
appreciate
cut me off.
it.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, you have a good night, man.
Yep. You too. Lord of my vices. Come on up, Chief with the Chief.
Hold on, good. Right, hey,
Hey, hey, hey.
my brother, hey. Hold on, I'm about to walk out there. I'm in this GM. But hey, bro, I got some questions, brody. Cause we know about this Department of War, this Department of War shit they talking about, right?
Yep.
So like, and then we know they ain't pardoning them, but they commuted Larry Hoover. So then they
Yeah.
try to say,
So he
right,
still had to deal with it with his state issues, but his federal issues he got time served on that.
right,
They
right,
do
right.
that
So
instead of giving him a pardon because if they pardon him, he can see he's in the position to turn around and sue him because he didn't do nothing.
right,
Literally, he
mm-hmm.
didn't do nothing, and they locked him up. So they commuted. So they say they saying that the guilty plea overturned. They're saying they gonna give him time served, and then he got to go back and deal with the state.
Right. My question is because right when they did that, they tried to put these statements out saying he told on it. They try to diminish the names of our leaders and shit. So I'm like, they trying to say that, but then that's the
There
CIA
is no
working. But my thing,
history. There is no history of Larry Hoover telling on nobody at no time under no conditions.
right? Because the same nigga that said that he told on him, he said he ain't tell on him.
No, they were saying Larry told on the dude that shot him, but the
Right,
dude that
right.
shot him said Larry ain't told nothing on him.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
my
that's you got to take it from the people that went through the experience before you take it for the people who thinking they can read it from a distance.
right. So my question is like, is he gonna give a statement to the public? Because that's what we waiting on. We waiting on what he got to say. Been locked up so long. Is because when we look on the
Whatever he do, he got to first spend his time with his family first. So even if he got out right now, it might not even be announced for months while he's spending time with his family. And then he do have to give a report to the people because we need to. He is the lead chief that has
right,
to tell people about the conditions, the war that was waged against us as tribes, and how they did him. He got to tell his own story. And so we ain't got to take it from secondhand people. He'd be then told us exactly what happened.
Hmm. Do you
See,
think?
the whole
Cause
thing when he first went to prison, the law that he went to prison on was repealed off the books in Illinois. And the law said that if you was a person to influence and somebody under your influence committed an act, that you didn't have to give the order, that your influence was sufficient enough for them to carry out the act. That's what they convicted him of, for being influential in his community, literally. And they blamed the dude that committed the actual crime. He got paroled in the 90s, like 91, 92, after like 20 something years. Larry was still in there. Larry was in there for being influential. He wasn't in there for the underlying murder. They say his
hmm
influence was sufficient enough over the individual that if he committed a crime, Larry was guilty of influence.
right,
That
right,
that law in Illinois has been took off the books now. And so it's
right,
not even so right now today they can't use that same law to convict nobody.
right. And it's for reasons because it's like chiefs like you that we know got a voice. When they speak, it's gonna move the people. So they got to keep
Yeah,
him silenced at all times. It's like, but my thing is, do you think that Trump doing that has something to do with them sweeping the land in Chicago? Because you know they gonna try to get them YNs out the way, man. Anything moving out there that think they finna go against the government, they gonna get wiped out. So it's like it's best,
it's
like
not
you
the
said. I
government no
heard you say,
more. So this is what you're looking at. The old government called the United States of America, based in D.C., is gone. It's not even called Washington, D.C. anymore. It's called District of America, renamed under the military intelligence. They had to rename it first to
mm-hmm,
reclaim it, right? So when that happens, the changing of the guard gets closer. They have to get rid of police because they foreign military and we in a police state and we don't know it. So they're gonna bring in National Guard before they get rid of the police, right? When they bring the National Guard in, then the officers gonna either be deputized by a sheriff or they gonna have to be militarized by the National Guard. But most of them is gonna be rejected because the profile requirements for them to hire police is sociopathic in nature, and they're not gonna allow a lot of the people that's practicing law enforcement now to even be qualified to practice.
yeah.
Right. So a lot of changes is like real close.
Yeah, because
Right.
I heard you say you told the mothers, man, get y'all kids out the street because it's about to get ugly, man.
Yeah,
They,
tell them,
so they,
tell them don't play with them people. They told to treat us like we family, but they also told them take no shit.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they gonna be smooth, but if you go out there, trying to threaten them with your switches, you gonna see what a real switch look like. I'm just
nah,
keeping it 100.
nah, for real, nah. But do you think that has a connection with like the war that we facing on that land? Like, do they have a certain microscope on Chicago to where, all right, we move Larry Hoover around, and now we about to run in there and try to do they sweep? Is it some type of like? Is it a reason why it's that land in particular?
It's not just Chicago. This gonna happen in multiple cities across the land. They have to
Mm,
secure certain what we call them. They call them um, prime military target zones. The reason sending the National Guard in is not had nothing to do with the reason they telling you. They don't care nothing about stopping crime. They don't have nothing to do with that. It's securing the land so that a force can't have sleeper cells invading us while the power structure is shifted. That's what it's about.
mm, mm. So you think they gonna let Jeff Ford get a voice too? You think they gonna move him around?
They
Angel
gonna have
Bay.
to. Yeah, Angel Bay gonna have. They sooner or later they gonna have to let him go too. But first we have to see Larry is the spearhead. Because once the people get to hear and see what's going on with Larry, that's gonna make them demand all of these political prisoners brought to the forefront. And Angel Bay is the law of Turtle Island. He's the one who was supposed to be enforcing the law. This is why when you in Chicago, you always hear them say Stones run it. Cause
Mm-hmm.
that's the law enforcement, the Red House law enforcement, them mama's boys and they don't play. And a lot of people misconstrue that part of the tribal structure with a whole lot of other stuff. But he is the chief that was supposed to be responsible for the military governing of the people on the land. He was supposed to be our Shaka Zulu. That's why they got
Mm.
rid of him.
Mm.
Larry is the ambassador, the spokesperson, the chairman of the board.
Chairman of the
He's
board, right?
he's the one responsible for telling the people how we was in this mess, how we overcome this mess. As the chairman of the board, you're the spokesman for all of the tribes,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
And Larry.
we all know who he is. But remember, we classify in their system is one day after the 999 portal gate,
Right.
which is 910. Mathematically, 9 plus 10 is what?
19.